Hey there, core members. My name is OJ Oleka. I am a 2010 Teach for America core member from St. Louis. I graduated from the University of Louisville. I taught middle school math at Yateman Middle School. Go Tigers. I actually wanted to talk to you a little bit about my core experience and how it was kind of a tale of 2 years. So my first year, I was excited to be a core member, and I knew it was going to be incredibly challenging, and it was. I focused a lot on the challenges, the difficulty of moving to a new city, of being in a new area, and trying to teach kids that, quite frankly, hadn't really had a lot of good teachers before me. The mistake that I made was that I didn't actually set a clear vision with clear academic goals. And the reason why that's so important is because I just said, well, I want to be good. I want to be good for my kids. I want to be a really good teacher, and I know my kids can do really, really well. The problem is I never actually sat down and defined what really good meant. I never sat down and defined, well, what does it look like for my kids to be exceptional? What does it look like for them to actually do really, really well in the classroom? And what does it look like where we're able to say, my kids were successful this year, or where my students could say, I was successful this year? So as you can imagine, as a result, my kids didn't do as well as they could have. Unfortunately, my first year I struggled significantly, largely because I couldn't tie the things that I was doing in my classroom management, my consequence system, my expectations, my rigor. I couldn't tie those things to anything concrete. So as a result, my first year, my kids didn't learn as much as they could. I struggled more than I should have, and I entered my second year with a lack of confidence until I really sat down and decided over that summer, between my 2 years, I've got to do better. And the way to do better is to have a clear goal, a clear understanding of what my kids actually need to do to become successful academically. So I set clear goals. I wanted my kids to have an 80% or higher in class, in in-class grades. I want to make sure that all of my kids passed the state exam. And I want to make sure that my kids had a clear understanding of the mathematical concepts based on my end-of-year assessment. And that was an incredible change in my second year, what my kids were able to do. Because I had clear goals, I was able to tell them what our goals were, number one, and everything I did was tied to those goals. And I would talk to my students and say, look, Alan, you need to quit acting up because you're not going to be able to do well in my class. You're not going to be able to get at least an 80%. You're not going to pass the state test. You're not going to reach the levels that you should, understanding math based on what we've got at the end of the year. He understood. My other students understood exactly what was at stake. And so as a result, my second year students that came in understanding math at about a third and fourth grade level, and again, this is seventh grade, left my class on average going 2 or 3 years in their mathematical concepts and understanding. Where they struggled in multiplication in August, a lot of them were doing logarithms in April. And the reason why they were able to be so successful is because I was very clear about what our vision was and where I was taking them and where they could go. I couldn't have done those things without clear academic goals and an absolute understanding of what my students could actually do. And again, they were simple goals: get an 80% or higher in class, pass the state exam, and receive a high grade in terms of your mathematical concepts and understandings based on my end-of-year assessment. And again, those were tied to some other things that were particular to my school and my personal goals. I mean, look at it from another perspective. If you had if you're a sports fan, you had a football coach that said, "Well, we're just gonna, do okay this year." Well, what kind of mentality does it send to your players going into each game? What do you actually expect them to do? If it's football, you're going to score more touchdowns. If it's basketball, you're going to score more points. You don't know because there's not any clearly defined goals. Or if you, when you're graduating college, said, well, I just want to get a degree, but you don't actually know in what. It'd be really difficult to figure out what classes to take. So academic goals, like any other goals you set in life, are extremely important. And I encourage you to sit down, have a clear understanding of what they are for your classroom and why. And then share those with your kids and coach them to reach those goals at every opportunity. I actually went to an info session today for Teach for America, which is why I've got this October 30th sticker on my jacket. That's the next deadline. You applied for Teach for America because you believed in the kids that you were going to teach. A year ago, or maybe 6 months ago, or whenever you applied, that was in your mind. Use your academic goals as a way to make that happen.